So we've created ourselves a custom web app called Training 2013, and we've added a table, but that table was created by using the wizard. We just searched for clients and picked the first table. That gave us the table structure and 3 default views. If we wanted to create another table, we could click Table. This time, instead of using the template, we'd like to look at how to import some data from a desktop database, and then that will create the database in the custom web app, therefore in the cloud, and import the data and store that then on a SharePoint server. So where is my database stored? Well, it's actually in an Access desktop database, so I would click the Access option and then browse to find the file. Now you'll find in your working files there is a database called Customers Mini. We're going to use this because it doesn't have the 185,000 records in it, just has a mere 1,000. Now you'll notice that this wizard will create new tables in your Access 2013 app and import the data. It will not import any relationships, it will not import any calculated columns or rules or default values, and certain old data types will not be imported either. That's fine, it'll get the bulk of the data. We then need to choose which of our tables to import. Well, let's choose them all. Okay. And then the custom web app will now create those 4 tables on the server and import any data that already exists in them. Now, depending on how much data there is, will depend on how long this will take, which is why we're using this smaller version of the database instead of the one with 180,000 records. Once it finally finishes, we find that actually there was a slight problem importing TBL customers. Either we couldn't create the table or we couldn't import all the data. Well, we'll soon find out which it is. So I close the message box. I then see on the left the tables that have been imported, TBL countries, but it doesn't have any views, TBL customers, TBL sales. What I would then need to do next is add some views to each of these tables so that they can be viewed online in the custom web app. We'll look at how to create views in our next lesson. Let's go back to adding a new table. So we have an option here, it brings us back to the Add Table option. Now, instead of importing or using the wizard, you can create a table yourself from scratch by going to Table, then across to Add a New Blank Table, and you can see this looks just the same as if you're in normal access, shall we say. It creates a table called Table 1 for the moment, gives it an ID as an auto number, and even makes it a primary key. So we're already started with our table. I'm just going to rename that ID to child, and then we'll hold the child name, which can be a short text. Notice the data types are exactly the same as Access, so there's no difference. Even though this table is going to be stored in the cloud on a SharePoint server, we see here, creation stage, the exact same data types as you're used to in Microsoft Access. Child DOB can be a date time field. We then need to save our table, so File and Save. We're going to call it TBL Children. Okay, and then that table is created and saved in the cloud. I can then close the table, and when I come back to my training interface here, I can see TBL Children has been created, but it too has no views at the moment. So we can create tables using the wizard as we did with the first one. We can create tables by importing data from other places, be that an Access database, an Excel spreadsheet, or we can use, as we're used to in Access, the new table design layout to add our own columns and data types and design the table ourselves.